Canada's national teams are enjoying an unprecedented era of success, but the same can't be said for Canadian Soccer Association's finances. According to Canada Soccer's interim GM secretary, Jason DeVos, who spoke about Canada Soccer's current financial struggles on TSN, he said that the men's and women's national teams could be unable to play matches in the September international windows, and Canada Soccer could be forced to consider filing for bankruptcy. Nico, do you think of the timing of this is a little fishy? Canadian women's team wanting a new CBA, and how bad is this for the men's program with Canada set to co-host the World Cup in 2026?
I think the CBA negotiations definitely just brought new light to the reality of Canada's financials, and it really seems like it's dire. That Jason DeVos interview to TSN was brutally, I don't know if honest, but it paints the picture of how much in the gutter their financials are. The fact that they're going to have to maybe skip out on friendlies, the men's in the fall in 2 windows, that they can't fly their team to play friendlies wherever it is, not even host a European camp where a lot of the players, most of the players are. This all kind of just slipped out of Canada's hands. They're getting government help, like millions of dollars in help from the government, and just go back to not only these CBA negotiations with the women, but with the men's national team. They couldn't figure out a deal with Nike for new World Cup kits for Qatar 2022. It's very Concacaf-y. I would expect it to happen to a lower powerhouse, but we're talking about Canada. They're hosting the World Cup in 2026, and the fact that this is going on, it's rough to see. I don't know. They mentioned bankruptcy.
They've been really open about it, though. When we were at Nations League, I attended the press conferences for Canada, and John Herdman spoke about how they couldn't get together and have a proper camp like they wanted to, that every team had organized themselves, and what was it? The U.S. had 7 days in California before they came to Las Vegas, and they didn't have the opportunity or the funds to do so. And they really talked about the financial situation, so that's something that they've been extremely open about. We talked about the women being Olympic winners and them not getting the support that they need financially, and then the men's not being able to play those preparation matches is just a struggle.
How did it get this bad? How did it get to this point?
For some reason, it's just like Canada and bad with money doesn't fit in my brain. I don't know why. Well, maybe it's just a stereotype about Canadians, but for them to get this far where they're like, no, now we're in bankruptcy. And there were signs when they didn't get the kit for the new season. Yeah. There should have been something more made about that so that people could be a bit more prepared for the situation we're in. And also, people forget that the soccer federations are not a government function, right? U.S. Soccer is not a part of the U.S. government. It's its own entity. But you would hope that there's who are some of the biggest names in Canada that can maybe come to the rescue for these two teams, the men and the women that are doing incredibly well. This is their golden generation. This is an opportunity for both teams.
They should do a fundraiser?
No, I'm saying Drake should let them use his private jet is what I'm really saying. Drake, come on, you got Air Drake, bro.
Drake, Bieber. What other Canadians can we?
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Mitchell?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Wrexham.
Van City Reynolds.
So
be a hero.
So something like you said, it being a private entity or not necessarily coming from the government fully, this money, that was a big question that I had for Nico. It's like, how do the national teams make money? One of the things that I'm coming to understand is that when the Canada situation, it's something to do with the TV rights. They sold TV rights for like 10 years a while ago, as opposed to selling them in more pieces, which would make them more money across
Sounds like Barcelona.
timing, across a long time, as opposed to. So they had a ton of money when they first got the deal, and then they haven't been. But there's more research to do about that mismanagement of money.
It's just the fact that we're just suddenly at this point. I feel like we weren't talking about.
No, and then it was like, wait, what?
Downward spiral of the Canadian Football Federation, right? The FA is suddenly like, oh, there's a possibility of filing for bankruptcy.
Is this a negotiation tactic
For the CBA?
That would be wild.
Would it?
Wild.
No one's ever done that in the sport. Come on.
We love a conspiracy theory.